guys, here it is. We are in the cave studio at the Thrive Like a Viking headquarters, which just so happens to be the Garden Like a Viking headquarters. Definitely, definitely HQ for the moment. So, guys, one thing that many of you will probably have noticed is that the timing was a little bit off for some of you in other countries. That is because we, here in America, practice this ridiculous custom. We call it daylight savings time, which is just it's just a very American thing. I don't think any other countries do. I couldn't imagine other countries doing it, but it's a very American thing. Thinking that we're saving anything by switching the clocks 1 hour forward in the springtime and then backwards in the fall time. Which this right now is the actual time, the actual time, which is of course made up anyways. But daylight savings is made up upon made upness. So it's triple ridiculous. So, but yes, this is the time that we will be from now on. Okay. At least until they change it again. So, all right, guys, let's see. Where are you guys viewing from? What do you guys got going on? What kind of addictions do you feel like you have? We're going to dive deep into the concept of it's more than a concept of addiction in this podcast episode. So let me know your experience if you want to share in some way. I will be sharing some of my experience that I haven't really shared with you guys before. So might seem a little bit unbelievable to some people, but yeah, it is what it is. So here we go. Let's see. Val, hello, my friend. Good to see you here. Rachel, Successful Garden Design, said, yes, we do it in Europe. I haven't bothered for the last 10 years. I just ignore it and carry on. Just go to things an hour later. You do daylight savings in Europe? That is insane. I mean, it's totally insane. It's such a game that we're playing. Well, we're going to change the time. So, no. We need to stop. And the thing is, if you look up why is there daylight savings time, then they say, well, it's because for the farmers, so that it started way back in the day, so that the farmers would have more daylight to work. And if you know anything about farming, then you know that they don't even care about the clock. The clock time doesn't mean anything in farming. All that matters is the sun is up or the sun is down. So I don't want to hear that argument, well, daylight savings is for the farmers. No, I don't think so. Because obviously you haven't farmed if you think that that's true. So Wayne Corelli says, time is a kind of a human concept to observe change. Absolutely, yes. And this is why ultimately, as we dive deeper into our spiritual practice and the nature of reality, we see that time is an illusion. Time is a man-made construct. Time is the way that the human mind measures change, which is the only thing that is actually really happening, which is a constant flow of change. And so the human mind wants to label it and dissect it, and from the point of the observer, everything seems to be changing across a linear path of time, although everything is actually now. As we will see when we get further into our spiritual practice. Val says, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. So happy to be here. Arizona doesn't change time yet. What? It's a state-by-state thing? Oh, man. Just blew my mind a little bit. Lisa T, hi, from Central Indiana, sitting in the sun with bare feet on the ground. Looking forward to this tribe meeting. Nice. Well, we are happy you are here. Can everyone hear me right? Can everyone hear me good? So, yes, this is what... Yes, Wayne, point of view is all relative, definitely. If you guys don't already understand this, look up the double slit experiment. Yes? Look up the double slit experiment, and it can begin to unravel the tight death grip on reality that the human ego mind has. As far as reality is solid, that these are solid things, that there's matter in an external universe that is separate from the internal universe, and there's two distinct kinds. See, all of this is an illusion, the grandest of illusions. And if you want to begin to taste this through science, you can research the double slit experiment, yes? Everything exists in a wave of infinite potentiality. And the double slit experiment is proving in science in the laboratories what the mystics have proved thousands and thousands of years ago, already knew, that that everything exists as waveform energy, and it only appears to solidify when there is an observer that has intention. And so yeah, just look this up. We can do whole talks on this, guys. We could do whole rabbit hole talks on this if you guys get into it. But yes, Ursula says, can hear you. Okay, well, that's very helpful. Thank you. Is that can or can't? So, okay, everyone says yes, everything good. Matthias, hello, my friend. Wayne says, wow, yes, please. Oh, yeah, you're talking about the, yeah, we can go down those rabbit holes big time. That's actually my specialty. That would be my specialty, is that kind of nature of reality. So, yes, Pam, there is only oneness, no duality. Yes, absolutely. There never has been two. There only has ever been one. And but the human mind wants to think about that as solitary. You know, the ego mind thinks of all there is you, all there is one. How lonely. That's the ego mind thinking. You can be rest assured, because once the ego mind is seen for what it is, the illusion, and it evaporates, then the solitude, the oneness, becomes like an allness. Instead of lonely, it becomes everything, all that is. The emptiness becomes the ultimate fullness. And that's when you know that things have shifted in your energetic life and point of view. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for the emoji, Ursula. Tomato can hear you. I don't understand. So, yes, we are going to talk about the addiction after we do just a little bit of meditation. And because the meditation, guys, you have to take care of the mind first. Yes, you have to, first things first, you got to get the mind right. The mind precedes everything else. And by that, I don't mean the brain. I mean the, I know, Wayne, I got it. The mind, and when I say the mind, I don't mean the brain. The brain is part of the mind, but the mind is your experience, it is all the five senses, the doors of the five senses, yes? Which is actually, as you investigate deeper, as your meditation practice deepens, you will come to find the dreamlike nature of reality. And you will come to find that the only things that you can actually know about reality, or what we're calling this experience, is through the doors of the five sense. What you are seeing, touching, tasting, feeling. Also, we can say the sixth sense is the mind, thinking. Yes? So, yeah, guys, let me know if you want to get deeper into that kind of stuff, because it's deep. It's the infinite depths, you know? So Creative Soil says, when I close my eyes in the cold plunge, it's like a strobe light going off in my head. Yes, this is common. This is very common. And it is the different types of energies is what it is, basically. We meditation practitioners call these chakras. You know, the chakra energy, like first root chakra, the sacral chakra, the throat chakra, crown chakra, things like this, corresponding loosely to different colors. You know, although I don't get much into that anymore, because it can be a hindrance. The chakras, the whole concept of the chakras, can be just another thing to grab onto, another concept to strive towards, another thing that keeps you bound to the sense of self. It can become a hindrance. So we don't really talk about chakras here. We know what they are, of course, and in the beginning it can be helpful to work with chakra energy, but then if you are to advance, you have to let go of all of that, all the concepts about anything, you know. And so that's why we can play with mantra meditations a little bit in the beginning and stuff. That can be helpful, but even that has to be let go of, and things like that. And so what you're experiencing is the dimethyl, let me see if I remember it, dimethyltryptophan, I forget, DMT, essentially, is what is the human mind. It's what it produces when you dream, when you have a near-death experience, when there's extraordinary pain or firing of the adrenaline system, the endocrine systems, all this. The body will release DMT along with endorphins and serotonins and all this, because it doesn't want you to suffer, of course. The organism doesn't want you to suffer. And these can be viewed as all kinds of things, which we can get into that as well sometime. So, hello, Trish. We're about to start the meditation here, guys. Lisa T says, yes, please, on the nature of reality. Yes, you got it. So, let us drop into the meditative state of mind. And we are going to do the meditation a little bit differently this time, you will see, which is not really it's not really an additional step or layer, but it's a noticing. So this will help to deepen the practice. So now that we have got the mind, sort of the mental muscle of the focus, now that we are sort of honing that muscle and we're becoming more and more capable of focusing the thoughts without the monkey mind running around all the time, because you're practicing every day, 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day is good. That's enough. If you want to do 20-minute sessions, you can. That's good. But it's all about the frequency. If you could do 3-minute sessions throughout the day, that's really good as well. That's even better. So now we're going to move to the next sort of stage with our meditation, okay? So together, let us sit in a comfortable position where the spine is straight, and we will take a few deep conscious breaths together, breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, breathing fully in. Hold. And let it go. Last time, deeply as you can, fill the lungs. Hold. Hold. And let it go. Now, give control of the breath back to the intelligence of the body. For this meditation, there is no need to breathe in any particular way. The body knows exactly what to do. Just allow it completely. Allow the breath to become effortless, smooth, quiet, serene, gently flowing into the body, nourishing the lungs, the blood, the muscles, the brain, gently flowing out of the body, carrying all the waste product. Also remaining aware that your waste product that you're breathing out is being recycled. It is nourishing the plant life that surrounds us in this life support system we call the earth. It's perfect. As you breathe in, remain fully aware of the sensation of air as it flows in and out of the body. The area at the tip of the nose, the ring around the nostrils. That's all you need to focus on. Now, many of you will find that your mind naturally wanders away to different things, different thoughts, different memories, different emotional states. Maybe you're planning for the future or remembering the past. Whatever it is, this is perfectly natural. The mind is a thinking machine. So now, when you notice that the mind has wandered away, label the kind of thought or the kind of experience that is happening. So when you find your mind has wandered to something else, label it thinking mind. You say this to yourself in your mind. If you are planning something for the future, when you realize that you are planning, you say planning mind, and you bring the attention back to the sensation of air as it flows in and out of the body. When you find the mind has wandered to something in the past, you can say remembering mind, and you can even get more specific. Remembering mind, argumentative mind, sorrowful mind, but then immediately let it go and come back to the moment, the sensation of air as it flows in and out. The labeling is just a brief moment. Breathing in, breathing out. As your practice deepens, you may find yourself thinking how good you feel. You can even become engulfed in the positive thoughts. So you just label that serene mind, grateful mind, and come right back to the sensation of air as it flows in and out. If you find you can only go 1 or 2 breaths before the mind wanders away, just label it anxious mind, fractured mind, and come back to the breath. Or maybe you find you can go a long time, 10, 20, 30 breaths, remaining fully aware and present. You just remain with the breathing. Remain with the moment. Likewise, if my speaking frustrates or irritates you or brings you out of the meditation, that's perfectly fine. You just label that frustrated mind, petty, bickering mind, whatever it is. Notice it and then let it go. Okay. To come out of the meditation, let us all together, all over the world, take a few deep, conscious breaths together. Breathing fully in. Hold. Let it go. Again, fully in. Fill the lungs. Hold. Let it go. Last one. Breathe fully in. Fill the lungs. Hold. Hold. And let it go. Be sure to hydrate, my friends. It is everything, vitally important. I absolutely love the water filtration system I've got. It's in my Amazon storefront. In case you want to know, I'm not trying to sell them. I'm just letting you know. I've searched far and wide to find this one, and it's awesome. I drink so much water now. I mean, I have for some time, but... Okay, my friends. So we come back into the external experience, what appears to be the external experience, although if you're consistently meditating, you're already coming to find that there actually is no external experience that is separate from the internal experience. It's all happening here and now. Creative Soil says, what do we do with our hands during meditation? Well, that's up to you. It's ideal to put them folded like this. Yes, in the lap, like this. We keep them folded. Now, there's all kinds of different people that, different practices, mudras they're called, different ways of holding the hands that supposedly have different kinds of energy attached to them and things. But again, I practiced that for quite some time many years ago and that kind of thing. And I find, again, it's just another trinket. It's another thing that the mind wants to grab onto because what is happening is the mind is feeling, the ego mind, which is the thinking mind, is feeling its substancelessness. It's feeling the emptiness, the void in some way, because it has to constantly think and feel and do something and have a concept to grab onto, have a thought form, have something else that has to be next for it to grab onto. Because ultimately it's not real. The ego mind knows this. And so it will come up with all different kinds of things, all different kinds of, okay, so we have to hold the hands like this, and then like this during the other part, and then we have to put like, this, and then hold like that, because that is for heart chakra energy, and all this. The mind wants to make a system out of it, guys. But there's absolutely there's nothing outside of the one. So all of that has to be let go of as well. Okay? Carol says, I can wonder while focusing on breathing. Yes, you will find that's possible as well, definitely, which is fine. But just when you notice that you're wondering, just bring it right back. Label it, thinking mind, wondering mind, peaceful mind. Let's see. Ursula says, I have a compulsive edge to my personality, and I definitely let myself get obsessed with practice. It makes me feel robust and in pursuit of something beneficial. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Yes. Yes. Practices are a wonderful thing. But like Ben Hudson said up here, absolutely. He says, be careful the practice doesn't become an attachment, therefore another addiction. There's no practice, no system. Krishnamurti. Yes. Ultimately, this is the truth, is that there is no system, there is no path, there is no path. This is the ultimate truth. Because if I told you to get up right now and take one step towards yourself, how would you do it? You would say, I can't because I'm already here. There is no path. And in the same way, ultimately the spiritual path is the same as well. But for most people, there appears to be a path. And so we will talk using that language for now. Man, it's dark right now. Boy. So guys, let's see here. Matthias says, when you think about unrealistic fear-based future situations, say never mind. Possibly, yes. But when you think, I would label it more. If you're thinking about some unrealistic fear-based future possibility, then you can say, fearful mind, anxious mind. You can label it multiple things real quick and then come back. It's the labeling. You will see what this starts to do to the mind. When you this is the only true form of meditation that you will need, are these breathing and then this. It's all kind of one, but you will see what it does to the mind. How in your day-to-day experience, you just keep doing it. Lisa T says 9 or 10 breaths before regret mind moved in. Usually 3 to 4 breaths before monkey mind. Okay, good. Just notice. This is it, guys. Just notice what is happening in the mind. Let's see here. So, right. Matthias says it was meant in a humorous way. I figured so. Yes. So, guys, what Kenny Green says, thank you for clarity of meditation process. Yes, you're very welcome, my friend. And Val says, labeling helped a lot, better than attaching to a cloud. Yes, the labeling is going to help a lot, but we had to have the initial several weeks of honing the mind, so that we can get that mental muscle. Because most people, if like in the day-to-day people that aren't exposed to this, if you have them sit down in silence with themselves and nothing, no gadgets, no TV, nothing to draw them into the external experience, then they become highly agitated, and their mind like that, and all over the place. And this stems from the inability to be with themselves. Yes, and all of the technology, the television, the movies, all of these kind of things are conditioning the mind in the opposite way that we want them to. Every time that a television program cuts to another thing, cuts to another thing, cuts to another, and then a loud noise and then all that stuff, it draws you in and you just become hypnotized. Yeah, wow. This conditions the mind to be fragmented and small, the attention span to be weak and small. And this is what they want. Advertisers, governments, they want these kind of fractured mind people that can't string together long, real, coherent, analysis and thoughts and things like this. So, but that's not the topic for today, but it draws into the topic of today, which is addiction, guys. So the... Brian says, my addiction was aggression. Then I got sick and almost lost everything. Almost losing it all was first to lose that addiction and experience the one. The door was opened and the now was allowed. Very nice. It sounds wonderful. Yes. So addiction. Now there is... this is a huge topic. We'll need to break it down. I mean, there could be several other talks about this, because there is, there are many things there are many things that I am proficient in, that I know about, like, for example, the the science behind the breathing and the cold training and the heat exposure. I got a pretty good grip on all that stuff, but I'm not an expert. That's why I tell you guys like to read these kind of books that written by true experts. Now I am an expert in the practice and how it feels in doing it. That I am, because I've done it for so long. But the actual science behind this kind of stuff is better left to the actual experts. So you won't hear me say that I'm like an expert in that. Now, though I'm an expert in growing, definitely, gardening. And I'm not an expert in the exact science behind addiction, as far as what happens neurologically in the brain and all of this. But I can say with confidence, I am an expert in overcoming addiction because I've done it. I mean, really, really done it. To the point where if I told you guys, if I told you guys the whole story, it would just seem totally unbelievable. It wouldn't even, you would say, what? It doesn't even make sense, to this incarnation that is currently here now, which is just kind of wild. So, what is some of you guys' experience with addiction? Because we have different kinds of addiction. We have chemical addiction, which is a lot. It's very easy to see. It's in your face. It's the kind that you can look at and say, oh, they're chemically addicted to something. And there's a substance there. So it's easier to define. But then there's also behavioral addictions, yes, and psychological addictions. These are more like addiction to shopping, yeah, to the little reward system that you get when you spend some money. People, love this. So they spend a little bit of money and, they get a little reward system in the brain. Or some people are addicted to drama. How many people do you know like that? Addicted to drama. And these are the first people that say, I don't do drama. No, 10 minutes into knowing them and go, I don't do drama. You can pretty much rest assured when someone says that they are dramatic, that they are all about drama, and that they are addicted to the chemical responses. Ultimately, it's all chemical addictions. Ultimately, because it's all happening in reward centers in the brain. And so it's complex. It's real complex, especially when people get it deeply ingrained into their lives and they don't see the addiction in their life. They don't see that they are actually addicted to criticism, that they are addicted to criticizing other people, to putting other people down. They just instinctively are doing this now in their life. That there's also the kinds of addictions that can fly under the radar for years and years. And these are more of the behavioral addictions. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about when this? So Wayne Caroli says, you always make me laugh, mostly because of the ring of truth. Yeah, if you know a lot of it. So now there is also addictions that are commonly accepted in society, like the addiction to coffee or the addiction to even energy drinks and stuff like this. Smoking is, even though less now, but still, accepted. Alcohol is really pushed upon us, commonly accepted, yes, in the modern culture. And so it's all around us, guys, but it all stems from the same structure of the mind. It all stems from our unwillingness to sit with the reality of what is, with the reality of what is. And I knew this intimately for years, guys, because I was traveling. I'll tell you a little bit of the story. I was traveling, for many years. And during that time, I started living with like people that were just so laid back. I was living on Koh Tao on this island, and everyone's all laid back and smoking weed all the time. And there's Thai opium and all kinds of stuff, and everyone's drinking and just party all the time, and that's great. And so you live that sort of lifestyle, and you're young, and so it doesn't really like show in your face and in your feeling. You're not really feeling it, but it's just sort of conditioning the mind, Okay, good times equals substances. Good times equals substances. And this can be really difficult to overcome, especially when you ingrain yourself so deeply into it. And we are sort of pushed in that direction in the society to think that a substance means good time. Think of all the ads on television of, woo, everyone's got a drink and stuff and smiling, or even of dinner and stuff. Everyone's cheering, a glass of wine, big old glass of wine. Everyone's got smiles on their face. And I never understood all this when it was happening to me, when I was in the thick of it. I never understood all of this. But my mind began to associate good times with chemicals in some way. And so I got real deep. Into the chemicals, guys. I'll go more deep into this at some point, but now is not the time. But it got to a point where I just could not stop drinking. I could not stop drinking no matter what. I was living in the mountains. I was living in Humboldt County, and I was doing the growing thing there, but this isn't where I was the head grower. This is my first grow when I was just working there. I was living in like my van, parked up into the mountains, and man, these guys were drinking all the time. And so we were like growing, and we're super isolated, and it was a perfect combination, to the point where I got just every day was drinking every day. And it started just okay, when we get off, that we're just going to have some drinks, so we can relax, because we work hard, work 12, 15 hours a day, definitely. And so it's like, we deserve this and stuff. But then it just got to the point where I couldn't sleep without it. I couldn't sleep without, and so I would wake up, my nerves would be all kind of shaken, and then I would have to like take a drink, to calm down. And I didn't put this all into, I didn't know about this kind of thing. I didn't know what happens to the nervous system, what happens to the mind and to the psyche and all of this at that time. I just knew that if I had another drink, that this feeling of impending doom and dread would go away. I knew that that was the case. And if I would go more, so it got to the point over several months where I couldn't, if I didn't have a drink, then it was just feeling as, oh my God, the sense of just overwhelming dread, and that everything was about to collapse at any moment, which was amplified by what I was doing there in the mountains, because it literally was about to collapse any moment. We were, but also it was my first real chemical romance, my first feeling with the actual physical chemical addiction, to where I could not function without this chemical, because I had to. And so it got to the point where I was just sipping straight whiskey, all day and all night. It got to that point, and we're talking like there was like a 6-month period where all this just went shoo, right off the cliff. And it got to the point where I was just sipping straight up Evan Williams or Jack Daniels day and night, just like that, and this, whoa, and then it warms the inside of the stomach, and okay, finally, okay, now I can think. And it's not like you feel anything additional, you just don't feel like death. You just don't feel like you're gonna die, But it got to a point, guys, where I just couldn't maintain any longer. My health was failing. I was getting really skinny, and I was missing out on all my work. I wasn't doing the nighttime spray, the foliar feeding operations. Like I wasn't doing anything. Got to the point where I couldn't even leave the trailer. And so at that point, some friends of mine, some savior friends of mine, it was incredible. They scooped me up, put me into a truck, and took me to, as the divine would have it, there was a rehab facility just south of Garberville called the Singing Trees Recovery Center. And it was phenomenal. I went there, And it cost all the money that I had saved up at that time, but it didn't even matter anymore because I had to figure out what this is. I just couldn't stop drinking. I didn't know what else to do. So it was incredible. I spent 3 months there, guys, and this was in 2014, I believe. Spent 3 months there, and it radically transformed my whole experience, my whole internal experience, my whole external experience. We had group therapies every day. I mean, the Singing Trees, it's nestled right in the heart of the redwoods, of an old growth redwood grove, where there's 4,000-year-old trees there. And so we would go walking in the trees, and so it was just unbelievable. And you're with a group, 30 people or so, who are all like in the same kind of state of mind. And the group therapy was incredible, and just the whole experience was. But also what it did is the exercises that we had, all these different exercises, these visualizations to go deep within ourselves, guided by the counselor and stuff. And we're all really meditating and going deep within and to the core and finding out, what trauma, what kind of thing is keeping you from facing the reality of what is. And so, yeah, we went deep into, mother and father trauma and the history of all of that kind of stuff. We had one-on-one counseling sessions with them, and it just really opened up my mind to a whole different way of life. And it was incredible, guys. So that's just a little bit. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg, okay? So it's really just the tip of the iceberg. But we'll just leave it at that now. So I have a very intimate knowledge. I have a very intimate knowledge of all of that, of the addiction. And so it has enabled me to see very clearly that it all stemmed from my inability to sit with myself, because ultimately all I wanted was just to be free. I just wanted to be free. It got to the point where I was traveling to all these different kinds of places and doing, I mean, you know how most people have a bucket list and they will check things off and their bucket list sort of motivates them. I had a huge bucket list when I was like 22, but then I set out and I did everything on the list, everything, and then some, and then way more than I ever thought that I would have done. I did everything, but still there was this underlying sense of emptiness inside of me. And so, Ursula, no, I'm not in touch with the people from there. No, I mean, a little bit. I know several of them are dead. I know that. But it stemmed from the inability to face the emptiness that I was feeling inside, because I was doing all these things, yet none of it was giving me that satisfaction that I thought I would get. When I was dreaming of traveling before I ever left, I was like, okay, well, once I'm traveling, then I will have all these experiences, and then I will feel at peace with myself. Then I will feel, actualized and confident and all these things. But then after the years went by and I was doing all these things, that feeling wasn't coming. The feeling of being right in my skin and all that, it just wasn't coming. And so I was like, oh man, I started getting to the point where I was like, okay, well, the only thing left is like drugs and alcohol, because that makes me feel this sense. I started getting more and more anxious. I had to constantly be moving, traveling to the next place, going to the next experience. I was getting addicted to new experiences, and so I would go to a place and then have to just leave immediately. I have to leave, on to the next thing. And that was its own addiction, but none of it was doing it for me. And so, yeah. Successful Garden Design says, wow, hardcore. Glad your friends intervened and you got the help you needed. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And this someday I'll go deeper into the story, definitely. But yeah, it's, I owe a lot to those guys, for sure. Definitely. Carol Fago says, so glad it worked for you. Unfortunately, they don't all help. You have changed my life. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you, my friend. It's actually only like 5% of the people that go through these programs find lasting sobriety. find lasting, recovery is what they call it. But here's the thing, guys, is that that rehab, that was not my last time drinking and using, of course. It was actually after I got out of there and I was going to meetings. And so then I started working on a different farm where one of the guys I met in there, I met the guy that owned the land and stuff. So I met in the Singing Trees. And so I started working with him and we were like a partnership instead of work, it was much more in depth. And we were going to meetings all the time. We were going to the meetings at the Southern Humboldt Survivors Group in Redway, which was amazing. And but here's the thing. Here's what I want to say is that when I was going to those meetings, and there were 12-step Alcoholic Anonymous NA type meetings as well. They were like combined into one. And you go there and you say, "Hi, I'm Nate. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, I'm Nate. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Nate." And everyone's okay. And so over and over, "Hi, Nate. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic. I'm an alcoholic." And I was like, man. So it didn't take long until it was the strongest, a feeling stronger than anything ever in life was the pull to drink and to use drugs of whatever kind. But the pull to use this, because every day I was going to these meetings where we were saying what I didn't understand at the time was affirmations. "Hi, I'm an alcoholic drug addict. Hi, I'm an alcoholic. Hi, blah, blah, blah." And the psyche begins to believe that it's an affirmation. And everyone's calling you an alcoholic. Everyone's looking at you like this, looking at you like you're ill. You're going to these groups where these guys are talking about, "Hey, I've got 25 years. He hasn't drank in 25 years and he's introducing himself as an alcoholic." And something within me was like, that doesn't seem right. But everyone's like, nope. If once, then you always are forever. And that's it. And you're only one drink away from relapse. And once there's a relapse, that's it. Then you got no control because you're powerless over it. So you go through the 12 steps and it's like, well, see here, you're powerless over all of it. You're just powerless. And so that started getting into my mind and was like, these guys have been going here for 25 years. And and this is nothing against meetings. This is totally my personal experience, but it's like these guys are going to the meetings for 25 years and yet they're still identifying in this way. And they still seem like, when they talk about their days when they were drinking and stuff or using, they talk about it like it's some long lost lover. Like they're just, their true love is just gone. They can never use it again, because that's what they are. They believe that that's what they are. And so that's why only 5% of people ever actually recover in that program and stuff. That's why I couldn't in that program. So I was like, man, I felt the strongest pull ever. And after like 6 months, I had some relapse and stuff like that, which we could talk about later at some other point. But a couple of years later, only once I came into the true realization of the power of the subconscious mind, that you have to let go of all of that. You have to just let go. The meetings can be a good thing at first, but you have to stop identifying as all that. I'm not an alcoholic. You don't call yourself any of that because I'm not. That none of that is true. It's what you are now. And so you have to be very careful. If you have a loved one that is displaying symptoms of addiction and alcoholism or whatever substance use or shopping addictions, all that kind of stuff, you have to be careful. If you truly care about them, do not label them an addict. Do not call them that, because if they begin to believe that, then that is what they will become. It's the law of confirmation, where we have to work with these laws of the mind. And so thankfully, deep down, I never really bought it. I never believed, there's no way that you're kidding me. I'm not that. I'm infinitely more than that. Even though at the time I didn't know. I didn't know about the infinite one self. I just knew that something didn't seem right. If you're trying to tell me that I got to go to these meetings every day the rest of my life because of what I am, it's like, no. You got to let go of all that. And that was the only way. And then it coincided with like a massive spiritual awakening as well. And from that time, the massive spiritual awakening, there's never been even, that person completely died because I became totally willing to just die, to just let it all die. And that person died. And so who stepped out of that is an entirely different incarnation in many ways. And there's never been, from that one moment and the spiritual awakening, there's never been a single slightest desire of any kind to alter my state of mind in any way, as far as mind or mood altering substances. There's not been the slightest craving, desire, none of that whatsoever. I've never used anything ever again, nor is there any chance of any of that ever happening again, because it's a completely different person. And so most people, if they haven't experienced that themselves, they will think that that's not possible. They won't get what I'm saying when I say that death, really, and that rebirth. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. You got to go deep, real deep, and be willing to just die. And that person has to go. And so, yeah, so some of the people, the core people that know me, know about this experience, know about that life that I had for those few years. And they're like, man, do you get cravings and stuff like that now? And I said, absolutely not. 100% none whatsoever in any way. In fact, there's a repulsion, a straight up repulsion, because I've hypnotized myself. I've completely gone to the core and died. That person died. For all intents and purposes, that's how it happened. And this new incarnation is completely different. Because what's the main thing? What's the main difference? Is that I became willing to face the emptiness that I felt inside. Instead of running away from it for years and years and years, trying to take something, go to a new place, get a new thing, get a new girlfriend, get a new this, get a new that. None of it was doing the trick, And so instead of that, then I had to say, okay, well, there's nothing else I can do. So I have to just stop running. I have to turn and I have to face it. And I have to just feel the emptiness. And that's okay. You just feel it. It's the only way it's going to go away. You have to stop living in the past. You have to stop all of this kind of stuff. It just has to go away. All the thought about how something could have been different. Well, this or that could have been different. No, it couldn't. No, it couldn't. I know it seems like things could have been different, but everything happens exactly as it happens, and no other way is possible. It seems like it's possible when you think about it, but it's not. And so it's perfect. The perfection of reality is. And so feeling that perfection when I turned and faced the emptiness was like, whoa, man. Then it gave me it just quenched all those fires, totally quenched all those fires, because I realized the true nature of my being. It is emptiness. It is the void, which is another way to say it is the fullness. It is the totality of all creation, which is just a totally reversal way of living. Ursula says, what showed you the space to step outside of yourself? What showed me the space was I had to get to the point where I was just brought to my knees. I couldn't run any further. I couldn't do anything else. There was nothing else to bring me out of the hell that I had created myself. And it got much worse than what I just described either. It was a couple of years where things got bad, in the mountains. And so that experience, it just got to the point where I said, okay, well, I would rather be dead. I'd rather be dead than to continue to live like this. It's the worst. True addiction like that is the worst mental hell because you're doing it to yourself. Your whole life, everyone's talked about, and you've believed how much potential you have, or what kind of, light you feel or you carry, or any of this kind of stuff, and you're just pissing it all away. But just all the gifts, all the good, man, it got to the point I was thinking of even like my mother, all the stuff that she used to do for me to ensure that I was healthy as a kid, and do for me and all of this. And I was just pissing all that away. I was just throwing right back in the face of everything good that anyone's ever done for me by being this pathetic version of myself. And so it was like a loop of self-hatred and a loop of self-loathing, which is ultimately, that's the crux of the addict, the self-loathing. And so then I just had to stop all of that. I just had to completely stop and say, okay, well, you know what? I am a being of pure light, and that's it. Nothing else matters. And so now I'm going to just embrace the emptiness that I feel inside. Instead of running from the abyss, embrace it And then it suddenly became like a source of unlimited power and creativity and love and all the good stuff. And then immediately you regain all of that. You start doing things that are worthy of being proud. You start doing things that are worthy of love. You start doing things that are worthy. You become worthy again. And that's what it has. That's everything. So you see my hesitation in talking with this subject, because I can get super passionate about it, because I can say I'm an expert in this field. At least I feel that way. Yeah, Spencer says addiction is a full-time job that pay you in negative consequences. Oh man, it became like a higher power. It's the thing that you think of. The first thing, as soon as you wake up, it's the first thing you think of. It's all day long, every couple hours you're thinking of it. If you're not thinking of it, you got to think about how to acquire it, or how to use it, how to, it's just, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. What's that country music song? The high cost of living ain't nothing compared to the cost of living high. This is absolutely true. Nancy, I'm glad you're here for this one. Says, thank you, Nate. I'm so glad that you stayed on the path of discovering who you truly are. I identify with your experience. Love the confirmation that identity as alcoholic is affirming the problem. Yes. You have 1 year. Nancy says, I have 1 year sober this month. Awesome, my friend. That's what it's all about. And so now you're to the point where, I'm not telling you how to be in your program or whatever it is, but for me, there came a point when I had to stop identifying as this, because I'm not that. And so even if people call you that, you can forgive them, because they don't understand, because they've never had this profound shift in reality. They've never had this kind of profound transformation, this death, this ego death. They've never had this kind of thing happen. And so that's fine. That's totally fine. But what you call yourself, the self-talk, okay, that has to change. That can change now. And so the way to look here, the love waters, this is the man himself, brought me in the truck and took me to the singing trees, man. That's a trip. That's a trip that you're here. Yeah. So, yes. And that is... that's just the portion of the story, the first part of the story. But the whole thing is becoming totally willing to just embrace the emptiness within. Yeah. Wayne says, I hate that I have to go back to work and watch then the end of this later. I know it's not the best. I know it is not the best choice for me, but I cannot break the pattern so abruptly. Yes. Yes, it's okay. Not a problem, my friend. It's all about observing. It's all about watching. Okay. Andrew Barnes says, a spiritual awakening? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. To the degree that was just mind-blowing. But then it deepened. Over time, it definitely deepened. These past 6 years, it has deepened dramatically. Yes. And so that is... yeah, definitely we can call this spiritual awakening. Trish says, what are your thoughts on ayahuasca? Seems like once people experience using it, they want to take multiple journeys, which seem like it has an addictive nature to the substance. Yeah, here's the thing, guys. When I was in my days of drugging and stuff, I was deeply into all of it. It wasn't just like alcohol. There was time periods where I would just be doing psychedelics, or mushroom. I loved mushrooms. And so I grew them for some time, of course. And, those can be, I've had deeply profound psychedelic experiences, with mescaline and mushrooms and acid as well, although that was never my favorite. But here's the thing, is that all of that is just a temporary glimpse. It's just a temporary glimpse into the ultimate, into the nature of reality. It's just a tiny little taste, and it's artificial. So you have to give it all back. That's the thing. It's artificial. You have to give it all back. So it can be good to have a psychedelic experience like ayahuasca or the mushrooms or mescaline or peyote. These can be helpful at first in small doses. That it can be helpful. I can't say that it wasn't, because here I am. But it's not in itself, it's not going to give you anything, because you have to develop the tools that are going to bring you to this state of mind naturally. It's all about naturally. That it has to be that way. It can't be that way when you're putting the power in a substance that is outside of you. When you are going, hey, I need this ayahuasca, this plant medicine. I'm going to take that, and then I will be self-actualized. Then I will be connected to the source of all creation. Okay. Well, once that goes away, the portal closes. The portal closes. But I can tell you with absolute certainty that you can reopen the portal in a way that it never closes. But it takes work, and it takes the practices, and it takes other things. But that's why the vast majority of people don't. And that's why you hear about people, oh, I experiment with ayahuasca. Oh, okay. So you've done it once? Well, I've done it 47 times, but I'm still experimenting with the plant medicine. 47 times, or even 18 times. Tons of people are like that. And I'm like, okay, well, medicine by its definition is temporary. So why? No. You just wanting to get high. Because you can become addicted to that sense of clarity that you feel after the mushrooms and stuff. And so when you become addicted to that, then it's locked away in its own little experience. So Kathy Tittle, $20. Thank you very much, my friend. I don't get many tips on this channel, but thank you. Good morning, and thank you for that realization. Yeah, I'm happy you guys are here. Yeah. Reed of Urantia, good to see you, my friend. It's been a while. Says, hello from the Sonora Desert. Addicted to going to bed with a full stomach. Yes. Well, that one is, that's a pretty mild addiction compared to other things. So that we can say, if you truly want to change it, then you can change it. Now, if you guys want to know the sort of techniques that I was using or that I used after the fact, then we can talk about that in one as well. But essentially, it's the visioneering. I use the visioneering and the affirmations to completely hypnotize myself and just change everything. Yes, it's the visioneering. But yes, Pam says, you were genuine because you found yourself. Thank you so much for sharing. Oh, yes, you're very welcome. It's it's like we have two selves, even though there is no self. It's like the first self is the me that I think that I am, the ego mind that thinks and feels different things, and jealousy and all these other kind of things, and the emptiness inside, and that uses and stuff like that. But then there's the ultimate self, with a capital S, which is the same self that you are, which is the same self that everyone that appears to be multitude of people is actually not. It's one source. It's all one source. Nothing can be outside of it. And Spinster Mountain says, what is visioneering? Well, we will do another thing. We should do our next thing on visioneering. Let's do that. Next week, we will talk about visioneering, because that goes hand in hand. I mean, I was to the point, that's the thing that really did it. I mean, even when I was, after the rehab and stuff like that, when I went back into the darkness for a while, it got real darker than ever before, but I would be laying there just dreaming, just envisioning a healthy, just not what I was, just a healthy, actualized, fully confident, full of love, full of compassion and delight. I would envision this being, and I would like trick myself into thinking that that's what I was, that that's what I am, but because nobody was guiding me, nobody told me about what visioneering is or any of that and stuff. But then eventually the time came when my subconscious grabbed hold of that image, and that is what I became. All the habits that stopped for that, all the habits that were leading me away from that image, they all just immediately fell by the wayside. The desire for all of them fell away. And once the switch happened, and I was immediately led to the practices that would create the conditions so that I could become that thing that I visioned. That's what visioneering is. You engineer your future through using the marvel that the human being has of imagination, of vision. That is a divine capability, our ability to vision, to have vision, and to engineer our future through the vision. And that's how I know. That's how I know beyond any doubt how powerful it is and that it works and that how to do it, because that's the thing that did it. And once it switched, then I was compelled to do these things like breathing exercise, to start meditating again, because I stopped meditating for several years, obviously, but I still, and so I was doing all these things that were just, I kept finding these recurring patterns in my life where I would go to a new place and then before long, I would set up the same kind of scenario. All the people around me would be like drinking and drug users. I mean, not like, to varying degrees, smoking weed and drinking and stuff like that. All the people around me were doing these things, just partying and stuff. And because I was bringing with me the vision. And so once all of that changed, all the people and the situations all went by the wayside. And new people started coming into my life. New urges to go to different places, and to do different things all started coming into my life. And new books, new YouTube videos, new everything. So that's how it is. That's how it is. Beignet says, yes, I missed the visioneering last time. Hope I can catch it next week then. Okay, next week we're doing visioneering. That's definitely what we're doing. Val says, fake it till you make it. In a way, yes. I mean, that's kind of a loaded, statement from many people, but yes, essentially. But you're not really, as you'll come to see, though, the ego mind at first is thinking it's a fakeness, but true visioneering is actually just uncovering the you that is already there, because there is no time. And we can get deeper into the illusion of time in the future, but this you only realize once it starts to take effect in your life, that you're not actually creating a new you, a new something. You're just uncovering what is already present in one of the possible futures of reality. We live in an infinite sea of potentiality where all possibilities exist simultaneously. And so the visioneering is just uncovering the one that is going to happen, that has happened. It's seeing it, almost seeing the future in a way, but in a way. And then you come to find, wait a second, this isn't faking it. This is actually uncovering it, is what it is. Yes. So Brian says, the aggression was only one part of the addiction. It is so nice that all of that is gone. Oh, man, you ain't kidding. Oh, my goodness. Oh, the aggression. I used to be so aggressive. Yeah, I used to be kind of aggressive from times because I had anger. I had deep anger and resentment within me. And all of these things had to work through. That were guiding my behaviors and my relationships with people. And then when I would get really drunk, I would get real violent. I mean, not violent, just argumentative. I was nasty. I was not friendly drunk. And that's for sure. So even talking about it is like getting worked up, because then I come back to the now and it is so amazing, so amazingly free and just serene and just satisfied and full of love and compassion. I feel deeply connected to all things all the time, to you guys, to everyone, to the ether, to the air, to everything. I just feel deeply connected all the time. It never leaves now. And so loneliness or despair, none of that stuff, this is a non-reality. So, yeah. Yes. Kenny Green says 7 years daily canna consumption and grower. Started for bad pain management now. Pain subsides and canna growing remains. Oh, I know how that goes for sure. Yeah. I mean, for like 10 years, I was consuming pretty much daily. It was my but it became like a higher power, like all substance does. I used it to relax, Okay, well, I'm just gonna. I would. It would be the little reward system. Okay, well, I got home from doing something. I'm just gonna burn one, and then watch a movie. Oh yeah, and oh man, blows you out, and the mind is so all the lights and the colors and everything is just like hyper. But what I come to the understanding of what it did was it forced me into the present moment, more or less, even though it's not real. Getting high like that is even cannabis is not really being in the moment at all. It's but it was the greatest that I understood at that time. So because it would blow my senses away and stuff and all the other stuff, and I would just let go. I would let the flow of what is. I would just let the flow happen. And so I was so the cannabis was very, very powerful for me. And I would always downplay it. It's like, oh, it's medicine, it's just a plant and all of that. And I would downplay it for years. I understand how denial works. I understand intimately well how that works. But it all stems, whether it's weed or hard drugs or alcohol, which is the hardest of all drugs, then it all stems from the same place, the unwillingness to sit with the reality of what is. So you got to go within and find, what am I unwilling to sit with and why? And you have to find that inside. Because if you see something as a problem, if it's like, if you wish you could stop something, but you can't, you're addicted. Whatever it is. I mean, that's an addiction. So people are like, oh, weed's not addictive. Yes, it is, my friend. Maybe not in the same way opium is, or alcohol, but yeah, it is very addictive psychologically and probably chemically as well. I don't know the science exactly. I know what people think of it, but yeah, I mean, and I know because I was growing it there for years and years, so I really understood. But that's how I know that even that's got to go by the wayside. It seems benign, but it's not. It's bringing you out of reality. It's bringing you out of so you cannot be connected with the ultimate reality when there's substances involved. That's my proclamation. That's my statement. I tried it for years in so many different ways, thinking every substance possible, thinking that, okay, now I feel connected. Now this is the one. This is yeah. None of it is real. None of it. The only reality is this one. Yep. So, yeah, so Lovewater says, I am alive to joys of living. I deserve the very best in life. I love and approve of myself. Gotta run. Much love. Yes, thank you for stopping by, my dear friend. So, okay, guys, well, any other questions about it? Because when I get done with this, I'm going to be like, I'm going to like have to just sit in silence for a while because I don't really talk about this that much because there's no need to. There's no need to talk about this that much because I still remember things about that person, about that life, but it's not me, and it didn't happen to me. I know that seems hard, maybe difficult to understand, but it's like it happened to someone else. I don't have that it just severed the emotional, spiritual connection with that. So it's like there's not a need to really talk about it. So I never talk about it because why? That's just a completely different. It's a death. It's a old news, past. But I am totally able and willing to talk about it in relation to how it can assist other people. And so I feel like this can be helpful to people. If you're watching this after the fact, let me know. What are some questions? What? Andrew Barnes, yes, exactly. That's what I feel like as well. Yeah, although it runs congruent to most people that it's like get up in the meetings and do all that, and once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. No, I don't know. That's not true. That's just not true. So, yes, Nancy says, I could tell in your earlier videos that you were dealing with some form of addiction. You look like you were underwater gasping for air. Yeah, in some of those videos that I made on Travel Like a Viking, some of the first ones was when I sort of first came back from the mountains and all of that. And And yes, you can see it in my face. In my older videos, you can see I was dealing with deep toxins, toxic lifestyle, toxic thought patterns. All of that was happening. There's an unraveling period. It doesn't just boom happen, then all of a sudden boom. No, there's still the inertia from all those choices. You still have to pay for those choices. You still have to pay. And so, but you have to become willing to pay instead of just keep putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. And so, but now through the years, through the practices and everything, no, man. I just can't. That's why I tell people I'm aging in reverse. I'm straight up aging in reverse. I've never felt better. Never felt better. Day by day. Like each day I'm feeling better and better. Pam says it was never you in the first place. That's ultimately correct. That is ultimately correct. It was not. No. Carol says, been smoking pot since 74. This is going to be hard. Yeah, I know. But it becomes a crutch, and you got to look at it. Some people, that's fine with them. They don't want any more out of life. Not like that's any less than. I'm not saying that either. They just, for me, I couldn't accept that I had to put the power in a substance, whatever the substance is, that is outside of myself. That saying, okay, I don't have the ability to control my experience. I don't have the ability. I'm powerless. I need something else to relax me. I need something else in order to make me social with people. I need something else in order to motivate me to work. I need something else, blah, blah, blah. I just became unwilling. I said, no, I have the power. I have the power. And so no more am I going to give my power away. I'm going to, yes, it takes some time and it takes a little bit of dealing with the fogginess and it takes some time of dealing with the come down period. There's always withdrawals and come downs of various kinds, but eventually you step into your true power. But you have to fill that space with something else. This is what's important. I didn't just stop doing all that stuff and then just sit there and wait for spiritual awakening. I immediately implemented the practices. Tons of different kinds of practices. And so that began to fill my time. And that's what did it. That's what really did it. You have to fill it with something. And so Jerry says, how to grant someone else this realization. It's hard to stand by and watch. Oh, man. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, how to grant someone else this realization. The thing is that you can't. And that's the saddest part of the alcoholic addict, is because most of the time they're really good people with good hearts. And it's the saddest thing watching this self-destruction because you know their potential and you know that they need to get out of it and you know that they're killing themselves. You know that they're hampering, that they're hobbling their life with these chemical addictions, but yet you can't get through to them. You can't. And it can, the loved ones will beat their head against the wall thinking that it's something that they could do. But it's not necessarily, guys. Until someone is inspired to change, they're not going to change. And what will inspire, I know some people think that, well, I can say things that will inspire the person to change. No, rarely will that ever work. They have to go through it. They have to feel it. So they have to feel it. And so a lot of people want to go behind some people and clean things up and all that, but they're not, that's going to keep them insulated from feeling it. I know it's hard. It's hard. Yeah, Magic Mudada says, I'm quitting cigarettes. Absolutely, my friend. Next week will really help you then visioneering because, man, I smoked Lucky Strikes for 5 years, the ultimate cowboy killers. And so, and I dropped all of that. Once the shift happened and the visioneering and the spiritual awakening, all of that, just boom, just like that. Never picked up another one. Never picked up another anything. Weed, alcohol, pills, hard stuff, weak stuff, soft, any of it. Never picked up any of it ever again. Never had the slightest desire whatsoever. So yes. Okay, we're almost done. If anything else, Kathy says, you've helped that we don't have to carry it the rest of our lives. Yes, you do not, my friend. You can just let that thing go. Whether it's the addiction itself or it's also if you have someone in your life that's addicted to something, the feeling of letting them down because you didn't try hard enough. That's just another one of the deeply unfortunate things, that if just I would have tried harder. Just a few months ago, one of my friends from the mountain, one from there, I got news he killed himself. Several of my friends have killed themselves from out there because they just can't take the pain and the agony. But this guy left a letter. He sent out a text to all of his friends and everything, and he was loved by all kinds of people. And in the text, basically, he was saying, look, guys, I just don't want any of you to think that you could have done anything else for me, because you couldn't. And I was untouchable. I'm totally untouchable. I'm just a broken person. That's what he was saying in the suicide text. And so I don't want you guys to think that you could have done any more. You couldn't have. And I get what he's saying. He sent out that text, and then he killed himself. I mean, that's a trip. He sent it to his mom. I mean, whew. So that's how deep it can get, guys. That's the end result of most of this. Okay, that's the end result, because it's a disease that lives in our thinking. Okay, to various degrees. It's a disease that only lives in our thinking. So, yes, Lisa T says, would love to hear some of the visionary that worked for you in erasing the addiction persona. Yes, next week we will do that, definitely. PA says, Nate, have you found yourself in places where drugs are on offer since stopping? Yes, definitely. Yes, I have. But you know what? Immediately, because now I listen to myself. And I listen to my heart. I don't, the mind, the brain is one thing, the mind is one thing, but the heart is everything. And so I listen to that, and now the heart guides me everywhere in every situation. And so, it does always, the heart always does what it knows to be right in every situation without fail. Only when you think that you know better and you get in the way of the heart energy, does problems happen. And so I listen to my heart, and so it guides me perfectly. And I don't even no, I'm never around people that, because all those friends are gone. All those situations are gone. My life is arranged in such a way where I don't bring that into my life, and I don't go into that. Yes, my family still, my mom and stepdad, they'll have a couple glasses of wine with dinner and stuff, and friends will drink here and there and dinner and stuff. Yeah, that's not a problem whatsoever. In the very beginning it was, but now at this point, not even close. There's zero, but the thing is that if I was around hard drugs, why would I be in that situation? Why are these people in my life? Why is this situation in my life? That's not conducive to the visioneering. That's not conducive to me. So the thing that helped was being willing to let go. You have to be willing to let go of all the people that don't vibrate at the same frequency anymore. And this was hard, because all the people you used to hang out with and use stuff with and drink with and party with, woohoo, yeah, good times, yeah. But then the good times turn to bad times, and the bad times can turn to absolute darkness. For some of us, it never gets to that point, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Then just keep doing what you're doing. But to some of us, we had to make a change. And so I had to just say goodbye. These people would hit me up and all that, and I just not even respond. I just don't even respond. And so all that has eventually, after 6 years, faded away. Totally just faded away. So, yes, Andrew Barnes says, don't be where the problem is. This is absolutely right. Don't be where the problem is, because why? You got to ask yourself, why am I in the situation where all these people are using or drinking or whatever it is? If it's like a family gathering, that's one thing. But if you're like going to someone's house and everyone there is smoking weed and you're trying not to smoke, forget about it. Totally forget about it. That's not going to happen. You're going to end up smoking. You're going to end up drinking. If you're putting yourself in that situation, you will end up breaking, because that's the way it works. You adopt the habits of those you hang around, but you have to become willing. If you don't know anyone that has the habits that you're trying to emulate, or that you're becoming a part of, then you have to be willing to be alone. You have to be willing to be alone then, and say, okay, well, you adopt the habits of those you hang around, and I'm the highest vibrational person that I know of at the moment, so that's fine. I'll hang around with myself. That's fine. You have to become totally willing instead of saying, well, yeah, but I feel lonely. And so I don't want to feel, and here again, I don't want to feel the emptiness inside. So I'm going to go hang out with these guys, that I've always hung out with. Yeah, I know they'll be using, but I'll just be strong. No, you won't. It doesn't work that way. You're going to cave. And so you got to just let it all go. Let that whole life die. What Kenny was talking about, he was like, hey, so do I still grow and not smoke? That's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but I can tell you, yes, it is totally possible because yes, it's totally possible. But at first I would say probably not, because you're going to, the smell, all the cues, all the lights, the crystals, all the stuff. No, it's just going to be way too difficult. So that's unrecommended. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Carol Vance says, my daughter died because of alcohol. I feel I could have done more. Yes, my friend. Yes. 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 This is a common feeling. This is a common feeling, but ultimately you couldn't have done more. The path of the alcoholic addict is a lonely one, and it's one that that claims most people. It does. It's a disease that lives only in our thinking. It's not a physical, actual disease. It's a disease that lives in the thinking. It's the ego mind. It's the ultimate manifestation of the ego mind. The ultimate culmination of the death drive. Look, it's the ultimate culmination of the death drive. And so it consumes most people that are afflicted with it. No matter what someone else tries to do, it doesn't matter. I'm very, very fortunate that I moved away completely amongst all of that. And I don't have to be, I had to leave the whole situation. All the people, all the connections, all the stuff, you have to leave it all behind. That's why when you guys hear me talk about the mountains and stuff, it's like I miss it, definitely miss the land and all of that. But that all collapsed, as well as the industry that I was involved with, that all collapsed all at once, thankfully, because otherwise I would probably still be there. So it all collapsed, and now I'm just transplanted here again. But the land is still calling me deeply. And so now we are going to get back to the land in a totally different way, a totally different light. We're going to get the school. We're going to get the land with the homestead, the school, to be teaching people these skills, teaching them how to grow the food and how to grow the food for the food and all of that, but also how to visioneer, also how to overcome all of this and actualize the highest version of themselves. That's what the school will be for. And so it's going to be a really magnificent thing, guys. Full circle, back to the land, because the land's what it's about. The land got up in me, when I was there. But the people and the situations and the stuff had to go, had to change. So yeah, you guys sending some love to Carol. I know, man, I know. There's not much you can say. I mean, that's what, just silence. It just, my heart is with you, my friend. My heart is with you. Yeah. Magic Mulata says, me, LOL. I get lonely and need some social interaction, and that's when I start smoking cigarettes again. Oh yeah, definitely. Cigarettes and alcohol are two things that are so widely socially acceptable and done that you really need to you need to hypnotize yourself, basically, which is what visioneering is. So next week we will talk about that. Also, watch on this channel. I made a series of videos a couple of years ago, real short videos, and they've got like, I use stock footage, but one of them is called The 7 Laws of the Subconscious Mind. And just watch that one. Watch all those in the series. They're only like 3 or 5 minutes a piece. And watch those, comment on them, let me know what you think of it, let me know what resonates with you. But it will begin to describe to you the laws of the subconscious mind and how the subconscious mind does not know the negative. It doesn't understand no. So when we're telling ourselves, I will not smoke cigarettes, I will not smoke cigarettes, I will not smoke cigarettes, all the subconscious mind thinks is, I smoke cigarettes. See, advertisers know this dramatically. This is why you have smoking companies financing anti-smoking ads, because they word them in such a way that talks to the subconscious mind. And so it's still driving you to smoke. Yes, that's gambling ads. You see those gambling ads all over the place and stuff, financed by, ultimately by people that make money from gambling. This is because of what it does to the subconscious mind, and they know this. These are behavioral psychologists that create this stuff. And so, yeah, it's very powerful, guys. So once we just have to bring all of this into the light of consciousness, we have to be able to see this. And that is when the transformation happens. That is when we step into our power. Okay? So we will continue this next week. All right? We're going to talk about visioneering, on how to get through this. And so thank you guys very much for listening. You know, this is my first time really sharing this with you guys. So thanks for being here. And let us end with the only mantra that you need. One of the only mantras that you need. Okay? And check out our Discord, guys. Check out the Discord. There's a link in the description to the Discord. So if you guys get up on there, there's a section at the bottom that is about the Thrive Like a Viking channel. Share your experience with the cold training. Share your experience with addiction recovery. Share your experience with whatever it is, all right? And you guys can help each other on there. So let us say together, guys, 3 times. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Infinite Spirit goes before me and opens the way. Infinite wisdom tells me what to do and what to say. Yes.